I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now and look me in the eyes through this screen. Answer one question and be honest with your soul. If your mother-in-law was kidnapped from her bed, dragged out of her home in the dead of night, leaving only blood on the doorstep and a pacemaker ripped offline at exactly 2:28 a.m., would you wait 17 days to show up? Not 17 hours, not 17 minutes, 17 days. While the FBI released terrifying footage of a masked gunman at the front door, and while your wife was sobbing on national television, begging for her mother's life, where were you? Because that is exactly what happened in the Nancy Guthrie case. And the man who waited those 17 days isn't the one being called a prime suspect on every news cycle. He isn't the one whose car was towed or whose home was searched. No. The man who waited 17 days is married to the most powerful woman in morning television. He's a Washington insider who advises the elite on what to say when the world is watching. Tonight, we are breaking the silence. I am going to show you why a humble biology teacher's life was incinerated in 72 hours, while a political powerhouse walked through an airport 17 days late and told the world he felt mostly unhelpful. This isn't just a mystery, it's a masterclass in narrative control. To understand the gravity of the betrayal, we have to look at the two men standing in the shadows. In one corner, you have Tomaso, an Italian-born biology teacher, a man who spends his days explaining mitosis to teenagers and his nights playing bass in a local band. He is the everyman. He lived a quiet, transparent life in Tucson. He was there. He was present. He was the one who had dinner with Nancy the night she vanished. In the other corner, you have Michael Feldman. This isn't just Savannah Guthrie's husband. This is a man born into the machinery of American political power. We're talking about a former senior advisor to the Vice President of the United States, a man who co-founded a crisis communications firm with a former White House press secretary. His entire career has been dedicated to one thing: managing the truth. When a global corporation or a Hollywood A-lister faces a scandal that could end them, they call Feldman. He is the man who decides what the public sees and what they believe. The contrast began on January 31st, 2026. Nancy Guthrie disappeared. The scene at her home was a horror movie. The Google Nest camera ripped from the wall. The front porch is stained with blood. Her pacemaker manually disconnected at 2:28 a.m. The investigation exploded, but as the sirens wailed in Tucson, a strange, deafening silence began to grow 2,500 miles away in New York City. While Tomaso sat in interrogation rooms for hours, providing DNA and handing over his phone, Michael Feldman remained in Manhattan. For 17 days, the most powerful communications expert in the country, the man who literally gets paid to handle crises, was nowhere to be found. Here is where the story takes a dark, sickening turn. On day 3, the world decided Tomaso was a monster. Without a single shred of physical evidence, major news outlets called him a prime suspect. Within hours, TMZ and the Daily Beast were dissecting his life. And they mocked his Italian heritage and his hobby of making homemade pasta as if it were a sinister trait. They even went after his bandmate, forcing an innocent man to hide in his bedroom with the lights off while internet detectives surrounded his house. But while Tomaso's car was being towed in front of cameras, something was happening behind the scenes that no one dared to report. A leaked memo suggests that during that 17-day silence, someone was accessing Nancy Guthrie's private cloud accounts from a location in the tri-state area. If Nancy was in Tucson and Tomaso was under 24/7 surveillance in Tucson, who was logging into her files from the East Coast? When Michael Feldman finally landed on day 17, he didn't look like a grieving son-in-law. He looked like a man finishing a job. He used 3 specific, chilled phrases: nothing new to report, just being responsive, and the most chilling of all, I feel mostly unhelpful. Think about those words: report, responsive. These are corporate shields. A biology teacher says, "I'm heartbroken." A crisis manager says, "I'm being responsive." It was a script. He was setting the stage to ensure no one would ask him the real questions. The double standard isn't just unfair. It's a signal that the real story isn't where the cameras are pointing. It's where they're being turned away. The deeper we go, the more the official story falls apart. We've obtained details from a newly commissioned forensic report. Investigators found a dark fabric glove 400 meters from where Nancy's phone phone last pinged. New mitochondrial DNA testing has returned a profile, and the profile isn't Tomaso Chayon. Oh, but it gets even more calculated. The surveillance camera near the site wasn't smashed. It was manually obscured. Someone walked up to that camera before the kidnapping, assessed its field of view, and placed a temporary cover over it. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was a professional hit. An insider source has leaked a flight manifest from a private charter company. On the night Nancy vanished, a flight departed from a small airfield near Teterboro, New Jersey, heading toward the southwest. It wasn't in Feldman's name, but in the name of a subsidiary company linked to his global firm. Is it a coincidence that a man who specializes in crisis management had a corporate asset moving toward the scene just as it was unfolding? And is it a coincidence that he then waited exactly 17 days, the perfect window for biological evidence to degrade before showing his face? The internet is exploding. On Reddit, thousands are asking, is Tomaso Chayon the ultimate fall guy? Was his life destroyed on purpose to act as a distraction while the professionals cleaned the scene? The backlash against the media's protection of Feldman is reaching a boiling point. The silence in the newsrooms is finally breaking. While NBC airs sympathetic segments about Savannah's bravery, independent creators are refusing to stay quiet. The Feldman Protection Program is now a trending topic on TikTok. One former news producer leaked a statement claiming that any mention of Feldman's 17-day absence was strictly off limits during editorial meetings. The teacher was the safe narrative, the source claimed. Feldman was untouchable. Celebrities are even starting to weigh in. A prominent podcaster recently posted, "If my mother was missing, my husband would be there in 17 minutes, not 17 days. Why are we pretending this is normal? Just when you think this case couldn't get any more twisted, a final revelation has surfaced. We all know about the 2 ransom notes, but there is a third note, a note that was never made public, intercepted not by the FBI, but by a private security team hired by the family before Michael Feldman arrived. According to a source, this third note doesn't ask for money. It contains a single professional instruction regarding a contractual obligation that dates back to Feldman's time in the White House. What does a 20-year-old political secret have to do with the kidnapping of a woman in Arizona in 2026? Was Nancy Guthrie's disappearance a message? The FBI has officially moved their task force to Phoenix, signaling that the trail in Tucson has gone cold. But as they move out, independent investigators are moving in, and they are looking at the one place the FBI hasn't touched: the 17 days of digital activity in Manhattan. This story is far from over. When you corner a man who knows how to manage a crisis, he doesn't just retreat, he rewrites the ending. We are at day 31. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. One man's life is in ruins, and another man is walking free, protected by a wall of silence and power. But we aren't silent, and you shouldn't be either. I want to hear from you in the comments right now. Do you believe the 17-day silence was a strategic move? Why did the media choose to destroy Tomaso Chayon while giving Michael Feldman a free pass? Are we looking at a kidnapping or a sophisticated cover-up? Don't let this story go cold. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, because we are currently tracking a lead regarding that third note that could blow this entire investigation wide open. We are asking the questions the networks are too afraid to ask. Watch our next update, because the truth doesn't stay buried forever. No matter who you're married to, stay tuned. The reveal is coming.